Welcome to another edition of Session Breakdown. This is going to be for We End Up This Way. I just first want to say, thank you, everyone who put kind words in the comments. I think this is the first song in a really long time that people really liked. I mean, I made originally, so I want to say thank you so much. I can't believe all the support and great comments. So we're going to dive right in. I have the session pulled up. It's kind of beefy. Let's do this. So first of all, you've heard the song before. This is the mix and mastering all in one. Let's talk about the song for a second. So when I wrote this song with Aaron, or Kat, he's my the guitar player in Phoenix Year. We're releasing the song under Phoenix Year. When we originally wrote this, I wrote these lyrics right after I did the Metal Gear track, and I was kind of influenced by those lyrics, and I started developing them, and then over time, after the game was released, I sort of started to update the lyrics and really sort of mold it towards a song for Sam. The only thing I know for real is a real tough guy song. It's a real tough guy song, and I wanted this to be more emphasizing how tragic the situation kind of is. How the story of Sam's kind of tragic. If he sold himself to help Armstrong, and he didn't even really want to fight Raiden, so he just kind of did it because he had to. He's always just had to do things. So you could tell he had mutual respect for him, and I really wanted to bring out the sort of the more the underlying issues between the conflict, make it more sensitive. And I know in the bridge it says love, and some people are saying, oh, oh, you're talking about a bromance, and that wasn't really it. During the bridge, I couldn't really think of lyrics to put. And so when I can't really come up with lyrics, I start humming things. I start just kind of making sounds and vowels, and then I start putting words to these things. And I just said, okay, these are words that kind of go along with it. And then, I said love, but I just use it like he's referencing someone that he respects. And it sounds a hell of a lot better than saying bro, or guy. So, and he's just in that bridge, he's just saying he doesn't want to have to dispatch Raiden or wherever he's fighting. He's just saying, run away, man. Run faster. Because if you don't, then I'm going to end you. Anyway, so let's get into the session. I hope that clears things up as to why that bridge is a little funky lyrically. So we have synth, vocals, guitars, bass, and drums. As you can see, it's a big session. So for the drums, I just have a drum library that I really like. It's called One Kit Wonder, and it's from Get Good Drums. And I'm running that into Slate MOTT. This is probably one of my favorite plugins. It just makes everything sound a little bit more 3D, jumps out at you, and I use it a lot. And then I just have Joey Sturgis Tones clip just to keep it from going into the red, even though I don't even care if it goes into the red. As long as I don't hear it redding, it's fine. So then we'll add the bass into it. So whenever I do bass, I like to split the bass into two. I'll do bass high, like this. I'll do my cutoff frequency at 500, and then I'll do bass low. The cutoff frequency is at 500 too. So the reason I do this is because for the high bass, this is where I apply all my distortion. And for the low bass, I'm squashing the hell out of it with the compressor. So I'm just really stomping on it because I just want it to be this constant, thick bass line, not. And so together they do that. Because I don't want to add distortion to the lower end of the bass, because if I do that, then sometimes you lose the low end. So there's my secret to doing bass. Don't tell anyone. I think tons of people do that. I think I stole that from someone. Anyway, for the guitars came in pretty processed. I don't need, see, look at, there's big old sausages. Aaron sent these to me, Cat. I call him Aaron or Cat. His name is Aaron, but he goes by Cat. I didn't really do too much. I didn't really do anything because I like the tone. They sound good. So all I did was I used the MOTT. Oh, I did 100% because I thought they were a little dull and they needed a lot of help. And I just finished saying like that. I didn't think they needed anything, but this really worked. I rarely use 100%, but this time I did. It was just low and some extra lows and highs. So you can hear the guitars. Without it though, kind of takes a back seat and it brings out that fizz. I liked it. It worked, obviously it worked. You guys liked it too. Finally onto the vocals. I did, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, like 16 tracks. And let's just go over the lead vocals, which is the center. This one, the lead split into two things. So I have the lead vocals for the verse, which is like this. I'm not doing too much on these. I think let's see, I forgot. Okay, so I'm squashing them. I'm doing some pre-compression before I go into there because I really wanted them to you hear everything. So I wanted to really flatten them out before I even got to my main sort of compression. I'm really like, look at that. It's glowing red. This is glowing like a campfire. This thing is getting squashed to hell before it even gets to this thing. I'm squashing it even more. So this one I'm just applying. I use the opto mode on the Howard Benson vocal plugin just because it like takes all the harshness out of everything. Little de-essing, a lot of grit and tube warmth. I have all the switches plugged. I have the multiplier, the width. I'm doing a lot here. So it's got reverb, delay, multiplier for some. I just put the whole kitchen sink on it. It'll work. And here's my double. My double, it just is a dry version of that, no effects. And it's basically there to just help bring clarity to the lyrics, because the reason I say that is because look at my EQs. I got 200 and actually it's pretty dumb what I'm doing here. But sometimes, you know what? My thing is like, if something's working and it's not like correct, just leave it alone. Move on. It's working. Even if it's not like technically correct. Like, look, I'm boosting at 200, 2.5 and like 21. That's so dumb. I'm like doing double boosts. But I also have it down a minus 1.9. So it worked. You can hear the lyrics. The high harmonies, all the other vocal tracks, there's not much. And now let's get to the choruses. I don't know why that was bypassed. I hope that was, well, whatever. Maybe it was bypassed when I bounced it down. That was unintentional. I have these throw delays here. So I'm basically using my center vocals And for the chorus vocals, here's the plugin treatment. I'm using a multi-band compressor. It's stomping hard on the lower mid range, because what I find that I get a lot of clarity when I use a multi-band compression on a vocal, especially if I'm up close to it on my SM7B, because sometimes it really obscures what you want. You still want to keep the thickness, but you want to keep it in check so it doesn't obscure your 2K range, which is what's going to give you your clarity and your lyrics and everything. So going to that, we go into the LA2A, and then, which is doing a little bit. And then into my favorite Howard Benson. Again, we're using opto mode. It's almost identical to the verse one. I think it's just a little bit less. Okay, so this one, it's a little bit less intense than what I'm doing. I'm not using much gain in the EQ because this is a higher part, and I didn't want it. It was starting to get harsh, so I just did a boost around. No, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I thought. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so I have the echo. I have it 52% is basically before it kicks in, so it allows the lead in for the delay. I mean, it allows the vocals just to come through unprocessed. So it's almost like a dynamic delay. Well, I think it is acting like a dynamic delay. So whenever there's a vocal, it's only going to kick in a little bit time after. So there's nothing too much going on. I'm using opto mode again, and a lot more grit and tube warmth. And for the backing vocals, it's the same as the verse. It's just basically these are separate performances that are getting panned hard left and right, just for like that big spread. Because I prefer to do that over like programmatic spreads, like programs just make it spread, because it just sounds so chorusy, and sometimes it doesn't sound good when the mix is in mono. So we'll go. There's not really much to talk about as far as the vocals anymore, because that's my vocal treatment, and the vocal bus is just using the over-the-top plugin pretty generously. I'm using vocal glue, 40%. So finally, we're going to do the synth. The synth is like pretty in depth, right? Let's see. So I'm going to solo the synth. Here it is. So there's no like mystery as to why I did the whistle, right? Because Sam's like a cowboy theme and samurai sort of mashed together, and that's what they did in The Only Thing You Know For Real. And I wanted to do a callback to that, and so this is basically something this I thought it sounded like an Asian harp or something, so I decided to use that. And then I did this whistle by myself, this is me actually whistling. And then I layered it with a pipe, so it sounds like, because the pipe, my whistle by itself sounds like shit. So sorry for that bad language. I didn't have any other way to describe it. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, the little glitchy stuff. I just threw in ear candy, just using like whatever synth I had. So my string library is Albion 1. I think it sounds really good. I've been using it for a long time because I can't, I saved up a lot of money to buy that. So I'm not gonna buy another one for a while. And more like little glitchy stuff. Again, like having I wanted the sort of samurai sort of flair on top of the cowboy. Some of this stuff is annoying, but it's just there to provide the constant rhythm, the movement, because without it, all you're relying on is like the drums. So you did kind of nice. That it gives it some movement. Because this song is the same tempo is the only thing to know for real, but it feels like it's like halftime. Oh, the burp. I was like, oh, I wanted it to sound like the Metal Gear alert system, whatever. So anyway, that's that. I'm just using stuff like, so I'm basically taking sounds from synths, and sometimes when I want more beef out of them, I'll use Decapitator and EQs, some compression, but nothing too out of this world. And yeah, I use expand too, and that's like, this is like the default synth, but I love expand. Like, it's so lightweight. Some of the sounds don't sound that good. Like if you want it for like strings and brass and stuff, it sounds pretty I'm trying to use a really nice word. It sounds pretty fake, but oh, I got a massive patch for this. And just, I love Disperser. It does some weird stuff. It makes things sound like plasticky and wet. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the session. And there's not much too else. Oh, well, I'm doing mastering on this, so I'll go through that. So for my mastering chain, I send everything to this thing called Submix. So all the main things are going to Submix, and I'm rolling off at 40 hertz because, like anything below there is just noise, there's nothing useful. There's no useful information. The next thing is the Slate virtual tape machines. I try to let it only hit the red like really hard, like pin it when it's like the peak of the song, or else like if you do it in quieter parts, then when it's the peak of the song, you're gonna start hearing some distortion. And if it's not intentional, then you don't want that. After that, I'm hitting a desk. This is the virtual mix bus from Slate, and this is simulating consoles like big mixing desks, and so I'm not afraid to hit this one hard because it sounds a little bit better. It sounds better. It sounds really good actually when you pin the red. And then I'm doing, this is like, I think in my opinion, it's like it's the magic glue that makes masters really great. It's the Waves linear phase multiband compressor. It goes on like everything I master. It's just because it sounds so good. Like it makes it sound like a song. Like it's, even if you put it on and don't do anything, it sounds better. It's so weird, but it does. And then finally, I'm using FGX, and I'm using the Mixbus Just Glue preset, and then I turn on the FG level and I bring it. I'm no expert on like what levels should be, and these are always moving targets, and I try to just use my ear, but I try to shoot for my integrated LUFS anywhere between 10 to minus 10 to minus 6. And when it's hitting, I'll go through the choruses. I try not to see this. So if you see this, like I try not to make it so like the ceiling of these are too like below the average. I want the average to still be hitting the top. So I try to like do that, push the gain as hard as I can, because I want to get a lot of volume out of it, but I don't want it to where it starts like just chopping off way too much. And then finally, I'm using Slate VSX. So this is it's virtual mix rooms, and this is probably my favorite plugin. Ever since I started using this with the VSX headphones, I get more people saying like, "Oh, my mixes used to really suck," and they're not that great. I mean, they're getting better, but this makes it so like when I send mixes to my songwriting partner, he goes, "Yeah, sounds good." Because before he would say like, "Well, I got mixed notes." So this is cool. So like you can, that's what that like, tiny speakers, these speakers, and then these speakers. I can see what it sounds like in a car. Electric, a boombox, pods. So it's really cool. I can like check out all these different rooms and do these things. So what I do is when I take the mix, I just go to like a lot of these different things and I go and I'll check. For example, like I'll do the mid near field ones. So I'll go like, I'll listen to the mix in the near field speakers, like the tiny one. And then I'll listen for the snare and the vocals, just that. I'll be like, okay, are these two things in balance? Because that's what it emphasizes. And when you turn a song down, like any professionally mixed, if you turn it down till you can barely hear it, I guarantee all you're gonna hear is the snare and the vocals. So that's kind of my goal, to make sure that it is. And then I start playing with the midfield and the far field, and then I'll go to the SUV, because that's where I'm gonna hear if my bass is too loud. And after listening to it, I think I admit, like, I think the bass could be tamed a lot more. It's a little bit boomy. So, but he had the energy that I wanted, and I really liked it. So if you just sort of accept that not every mix is going to be perfect and the next mix is always going to be better, then you're always going to be making great music. You're going to put out stuff because you're not going to be afraid to put out something that's maybe not your best tomorrow, but it's your best today. And that's all that matters. So that's it for this session breakdown. And like I said at the beginning of this video, it really moved me to see everyone's comments and just the positivity and the enthusiasm. Everyone's just like really liking it. Man, I haven't hit like what I would say a home run in a really long time, and it makes me feel really good, because it's like, as musicians, you do this for yourself, but it really, really juices you up when people are really appreciating it. So, you know, from the bottom of my heart, man, I really thank the community. I really thank everyone, because I didn't think I was gonna still have bangers in me. You know, I thought I was gonna ride off into the sunset, just kind of being a mediocre musician, barely made it or didn't make it. And well, before I get too emotional, thank you. And I'm gonna keep putting out a lot of stuff. So talk to you guys later. Bye bye.